All right, we're live.
All right.
Finally. So this is attempt number two
All
based
right.
based on my screw up. So just to touch bases again, this is Darren, and I'm with the North Carolina chapter of ADDI, as well as some things that I'm doing on my end to help promote Africa and some of the goals and dreams that I have for us as a culture. So I met Steve through one of those projects, which is a community that we both have purchased plots in. And the goal within that community is me trying to reach out to other people within the diaspora and just have the conversations and ultimately build a mastermind group to kind of help us in our respective projects and then to see what we can do as a community on the continent. So, Steve, with that in mind, you can take it away and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what your goals are on the continent.
Yeah, my name's Steve Madison. I reside in Toronto. Uh, so basically, eventually I plan to move to the continent. Just in the process of doing preparations, you know, um, finance, securing finance, stuff like that. Because when you do eventually get there, you do have to have some kind of income to support yourself, unless you have a business, and even with that, you have to have something to hold you over so you get that business up and running. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now on my end. I've we discussed last several times we spoke. I know a little bit of real estate up there. So that's one of the ways I plan to help to help finance myself while I'm there. So that's pretty much it for starters.
And from what I remember, you were building a was it a multi-unit building or how many units are you're building or you
Well, well, yeah. So one of the properties that I had is what I plan to do is actually renovate and expand the property and to make it into multi units. So that's a plan. Just have to work on some financing.
okay. You have to go through because I know in the US you have to have like zoning laws change. It has to be zoned for like a multi-unit. You have to do something through Canada to change that.
Yeah. It's just that the bylaws. So whatever you decide to do, there has to be a zoning for it. You can't just go and say I'm going to make a 10 unit apartment on this property if it's not zoned for that. If it's called like R1, R2, R3, so
Right.
etc. It has to whatever you plan to do, the zoning has to be there for it. Else they won't allow you to execute the plan.
Okay. Is that something that you had to do with this property or it's already zoned for the type of property that you're trying to renovate it for?
Yeah, it's already zoned for that. So then it's just a process of getting the permit, right?
Okay.
So usually if depending where you are, you can apply for minor variances or you can attempt to rezone that particular property. But that's where the big guys get in because it's going to cost you money and it has to be economic, has to make sense for you to do something like that. So
Yeah. And from what I understand, the Canadian market in Toronto is kind of like US, where its prices are high for rentals and for housing. So there's a scarcity, I guess, of housing as well, right?
yeah, housing. There's a housing shortage right now. Um, uh, Ontario, the province that I live in, which is equivalent of a state. Uh, the government what he plans to do is build like something like 1 million homes over the next 6 years or so, 6 7 years or so. It's a lot of homes. It's pretty
Hmm.
ambitious, and I don't know how that's going to work out, right?
Yeah.
The problem right now is that a lot of the contractors, right, for them to build, the interest rate being so high, well, the prices that they would have to sell the houses for, like people wouldn't be able to afford them, right? So like they things slow down with that, and I think it's more than that because even when the interest rates were low, they were building, but they still weren't building fast enough,
Mm.
right? So then you get into a supply and demand situation, and where the demand is there, but the supply is like, just not there. So
Which is good for you because as an owner, you basically benefit from that for sure. People that are priced out of the market where they can't purchase, they need to rent. So it's definitely a good position to be in. So yeah, that's a good source of passive income to.
no, for sure. No, for sure, and especially if you're in a densely populated area, then it's gonna like if you in the city of Toronto right now, like you can get like a one bedroom, for instance. In some places, you're looking at like $3,000 for like a one bedroom.
Yeah.
So it's like a New York situation, right?
Yeah, because Toronto's a pretty big city within Canada.
It
It's been
is.
so long since I've been there, but
Yeah, yeah,
yes, it's similar. So yeah, it's definitely gives you food for thought in terms of making that transition to Africa too, because you see that across the board. Even here in North Carolina, where I am, it's the market's just crazy. I mean, it's not that much
yeah,
for one bedrooms. I mean, but I see there's a whole like sub economy of people that are living in out of like long-term motels, extended stay type of motels because they're priced out of the market. It's crazy. It's like a whole subculture of people that's just living in extended stay motels, which isn't an apartment. It's really just a room. And sometimes you'll have
right,
a refrigerator and a stove, or sometimes you'll have like a mini
right,
cube refrigerator and a microwave. But yeah,
right,
it's
right.
tough. That's why a lot of people are looking for, I guess, other places to go. You see, there's people going to Mexico and Panama, and but yeah, Africa and Ghana
Yeah,
on my radar, I guess, as well as yours, and that's how we kind of connected. But yeah, in
yeah.
terms of your goals on the content, you have how many plots in the community?
I got just the one plot.
Or just the one? Okay, so is
Yeah, yeah.
I do as well. One. I think there was another gentleman, Charles. I think he has two. But yeah, the goal for me is to kind of get my finances together so I can be part of the development of that community. I think we spoke about that because I would like to I would like to have some property closer to Ocean View or Lake View as well. So I do
No,
plan,
no. Yeah, no,
I
no,
plan on
definitely.
investing in more real estate there as well.
Yeah, that makes over the long term that makes more sense because you're into something that's emergent versus something that's already built up already, right? So
Yeah,
the room for growth and the room it's limited, right? So you gotta when you come into North America now, you have to come here with money,
yeah,
or you have to have money already, right? So because it's so expensive, like somebody that's a family coming from somewhere else and coming here and saying that we're going to start from the top and try to eventually buy a house and stuff. It's very hard right now. It's very hard because things are so expensive. But
yeah,
if you come here with money, it's a little different, right? If you come here with money, then you can buy whatever house prices are. But it's really tough right now. So going over and getting into real estate and Africa, Ghana specifically, makes way more sense because the money can stretch, right? And you can get an early leg up on it, right?
yeah. I mean, that's a plan. You look at some of the other countries, the Vietnam, the India, Singapore, and look at their transition. It didn't even China didn't take them that long for their growth. So when you like an emerging market like Africa in general, that's where the opportunity is. And I'm just like I said, trying to connect with people that are like-minded that see that vision. And yeah, eventually can collaborate um, in some instances and practice a level of group economics. I think culturally, that's important for us because we're at a pivotal time, I think, globally. So yeah, I want to be part of changing that narrative about us as a people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we like during like for people like us, like like especially the time where we are in our lives right now, like we got to be the ones to set something for the generations that are yet to come. Like like and the opportunities there, like like if you grandkids or whatever, make great grandkids, you don't want them one day getting up and say, what happened to our great grandparents, man? Why like when they hear the stories, why didn't they make a move? Why didn't they set something up for us? Like like let's look way ahead, man, and set the thing now. Let's
Yeah.
set it now, and and then we can so, somehow down the road we could be on some kind of Mount Rushmore or something for the things that we did, like for seeing way ahead.
You never know. At least a street in the community that we that we're both buying.
Yeah, yeah, something, man. I'm trying to say
Something.
because yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Bomani briefly and just kind of let him know that yeah, I'm all in terms of trying to help the community move forward because progress is kind of moving at a snail's pace. So yeah, to kind of rally everybody and on the marketing side, I want to help him drive more like-minded Pan-Africanists to the project as well. So yeah, there's opportunity for growth, opportunity for more connection. When in terms of what you're doing with the real estate, because I know your background, you're an electrician by skill, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Are you doing your
yes, yes.
own electrical work on your projects? Are you going to subcontract that out to somebody else?
No, no, I would something like that I would do because it's manageable. It's
Okay.
I would I mean as a matter of fact I would partake in a lot of things that would be happening in the actual it, renovation extensions, right? There's some stuff that's going to have to get stuffed out, but there are some things that you just naturally because labor costs cut some of the costs down, right? So
Yeah.
because you want to see it, the lesser money you put out, the quicker you're going to see a return, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's an expensive cost, the electrical for sure. And that's a good skill set to actually bring to the continent. So having that construction type of background, you can oversee and like probably see flaws that other people normally wouldn't pick up.
Sure. No, 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 for sure. There's I mean, there's lots of things that like there's lots of things that uh, we could definitely, or myself, like, you know, uh, add to like in the bigger picture scheme of things in terms of skill sets and stuff like that. I mean, there's people over on the continent that can do electrical work and do all that stuff. So we're not saying that's the case, but like if we're doing something for like if we're doing a group project together, then it's good to know all that stuff because then there's what do we want to do here? How can we do it? And then then we can oversee, say, hey, no, we're not doing that. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think we briefly spoke about even in terms of like potential business opportunities because we know solar is huge on the continent. So to be able to apply that knowledge, and I don't know how much you do or if anything on the solar end, but that's an opportunity for distribution and for, you know, things
Definitely,
in that
definitely.
vertical.
Definitely, and by you saying that now, that's how the connection back with Tony comes in now, right?
Yeah,
Tony, that's
yeah,
that's where he comes back in with him now, right? In
yeah,
early stages of it, right? Because
yeah.
he needs because I quickly listened to it, listened to you guys interview there, and it basically sounds like he needs distributors,
Yeah. So
right?
one of the things I
Uh,
asked was he interested in having distributors in Ghana? And he said that he pretty much wanted, I don't think you can lock up all of Ghana, one distributor. Um, so
no, the place is too big.
yeah,
Exactly.
so and I know he's sort of, I guess, familiar with Ghana, but yeah, I don't think you can kind of lock that up as far as one distributor for the entire country. But yeah, that's a definite avenue to, and that's part of the process is meeting other people, seeing what they do. Because yeah, he has connections with the Chinese manufacturing companies. And we kind of briefly
Right.
spoke about that too. Ultimately, you want to be able to get other people's materials and not necessarily knock it off, even though that's what they do a lot, but to have your version of it so you create your own manufacturing so you're not dependent on somebody else. But initially,
That
tapping into other manufacturers' products to distribute and do whatever is huge.
Yeah, I mean, once you have all the parts, they are like that stuff like raw materials, and you can turn the raw materials into the parts that you need. We're talking about electronics here, like to turn into electronic parts, right? You have the manpower, you have the resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what we need now is we need some to create some facilities, right? And start and then one of the most important things that you need power.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need if you're gonna industrialize, you have to have power.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to generate it in through solar. You got to generate it through hydro, through nuclear, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? Because
Yeah.
everything that we talk about, without that, you can't do anything.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
then we can start manufacturing all these things in house.
Yeah, and you see some stories and things like recently I've heard that in Burkina Faso where they were going to sell two of the gold mines to I think an American buyer, but they Burkina Faso and Traore took possession of the gold mines and basically the government owned them. So it kind of preempted, and I think they were supposedly looking at like 300 million that France was trying to get for those gold mines, but now they took possession. So it's good to see things like that. I know in Rwanda, they built one of the first gold smelting plants. So now things that weren't produced on the continent are now being produced. So now you're going to have gold and gold refining done on the continent, which is huge. So just seeing the elements of that springing up is beautiful to see.
Yes, no, definitely, because this is what needs to happen. It has to, I mean, the countries have to take control of their resources, right? And then later on, when you get private guys, and they have to be nationals, have to be Africans. And then later on, you can start distributing some of those resources back back to private guys, whether it's between a partnership between the private guy and the government, whatever. I don't know how, but you can't have outsiders just coming in and owning your resources, because you'll never get anywhere. The people will never benefit. Like, only if you're going to get, the majority just going to suffer. That's got to stop. It can't work like that.
Yeah, that's what's going to create the jobs to grow the economy. And that's what I'm saying about the trajectory that you see several of the African countries on, is that they realize that now. Even the African Continental Trade Agreement that's making the connectivity.
Kind of free trade agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. There's going to be a rush of more people coming through to try to, get access to ground floor of the growth trajectory. So that's why it's critical to
Yeah.
kind of get the information out there, connect with people, and make a move.
Yeah, and that's where ADDI comes in, because a lot of those first right of refusal must go to
Yeah.
the diaspora.
And I didn't even
It's a
realize
lot
you
of
were a member of ADDI until we actually spoke. So we're in the same community
yeah.
invested. I mean, here you are, a member of ADDI. I'm like, okay, but yeah,
Yes, because that's what it has to be, man. It has to be a global. It has to be a global. It has to be a global. And you're gonna have people in America, man, and once that bridge of connection is made, I mean, the same thing that Tony is doing with the Chinese is the same thing that, like, the African Americans that are living in America, and the ones that are on the continent. That's it's the same idea,
mhm.
right? You can refine the resource on the continent, and ship it to the markets, right? The people in America, people here in Canada, in the Caribbean, Europe, whatever. Those become markets for
Exactly.
those process of those raw materials, right? So it doesn't get reversed. So you don't send the pure raw material over to Europe and buy it back at sometimes the price.
And that's
Right?
exactly what happens. All of those resources get produced and create the jobs overseas in the
That's right.
West and in Europe, and then shipped back, and they paying 2, 3 times as much. And most
Right.
times, a certain segment of the country can't even afford it. It's unaffordable for them. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
So
crazy.
essentially, what you're doing, you're taking money. You're taking money from IMF. You're getting aid. You're getting money from the World Bank. All this stuff. So basically, essentially, what you're doing is they give it to you at a high interest rate, and you basically you take the money, you give them back, but you still got to pay the interest on it, right?
Yeah.
And the money that they gave you, the money that they're giving you, is from your raw materials in the first place. So you're getting treated like that cheap horror or whatever you want to call it over and over again, man. So like if we want to grow, if we want to get out of this, then those things got to stop. It'll never work. We know now. We know now. So now it's time for solutions, right?
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to see just on a grassroots level, the amount of people coming from all over, from the UK, from Canada, from America, from Germany. You hear people, so it's a definitely a pivotal moment culturally for all of us to see, because this nothing's ever happened like this since I've been alive. So to see it is beautiful, and to be a part of it is even better.
Oh yeah, I had that conversation with my wife, and I said to her, I said, listen, this is something that's this is something that's like this what's happening now is going to be in the history books for years to come.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
we were talking about that great migration, that awakening. It's going to be like but we have to tell our when we tell our stories, like that's what the grandkids, the great grandkids, that's what they're going to read about
right.
because that's what's happening in real time right now.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. I was too young to have experienced the Harlem Renaissance. Didn't live in a part of the country, was too young to experience Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. This is way, way beyond that. So this is a
Way
different
beyond it.
type of, yeah, different type of Renaissance. And I just, like I said, hoped and trying to play my part, to get as many people as possible to kind of that with the same mindset to connect and see what we can do to help the movement.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
is your
only.
wife on board now with or is she reluctant like my wife?
Um, no, no, I'm not saying reluctant, but at the same time, like I said, the change, like like when you're used to routines and it's and
Yeah,
doing things a certain way, and it's not as easy, right? So I understand that sometimes sometimes you got to make the first step and look and stick your head in the bush and see what's out there and see if the coast is clear and then kind of take a picture and say, look, see, everything is good. Like why don't you come check it out? you
yeah.
know?
And I don't want to over romanticize things because you hear all types of stories, but it's just like, okay, I'm ready for the challenge. Like I said, I'm in the third quarter of my life, so this is this what's left in this quarter and the last one. This is like what I want to focus on. So I don't know if you look like you may have froze on me, Tony. Yeah, I think you're.
It's just like you know, you go out there and you get a barren piece of land. There's nothing there. You're on the sticks. There's nothing there. And you're coming from a city where everything was around you.
Yeah,
And you look at it, yeah, one guy, and he looks at it and he goes, "Man, what the hell is this? What I can't do nothing with this. There's nothing around. There's no running water. There's no nothing, right?" And he just walks away from it. The next guy looks at things. He sees paradise. He
yeah,
sees the end product of that thing. Like he sees what it's going to look like at the end. And then he rolls his sleeves up and he gets to work.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
A lot of people don't
that's
have that vision. Yeah, a lot of people
no,
don't have the vision, but yeah, the people that do,
yeah,
those are the people that I want to be able to connect with. And that's
right.
that's the importance of kind of documenting this to be able to tell these stories and attract the other people that either do or don't have the vision. The ones that don't, they may see it by hearing the stories, like what Charles is doing, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what Celia's doing, what Steve is doing. I'm sorry, what Tony is doing.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, and I hope to connect, like I said, with more people within the Black Star Pan African community and beyond. Because Tony
yeah.
is not a member of the Black Star Pan African community, but he's doing things. Matter of fact, he should be in Ghana now. based on my
Yeah,
conversation. So
yeah. But one thing I when I was listening to the interview there, it didn't seem like he's familiar. He's not familiar with ADDI, or nor is he familiar with Denta. And I hope that he took notes and looked those things up, because for what he's trying to do, like he needs, like those are the people that he, like Denta, like those are the people that he should be trying to get a hold of, because he's talking about distribution. He should be getting a hold, because they Denta especially, she's involved with some heavy hitters, man.
yeah, she is. I want to join her organization too. Yeah, because I mentioned it. Was he aware of GUBA, her organization, Grow, Unite, Build Africa, and there's also a government office, GIPC, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. So yeah, and that's part of the connections, because he may know things that I don't know in terms of his connections with Chinese manufacturers, or things that you don't know, or so that's part of this process. So ultimately, to be able to have like parts 2 and part 3 and some stuff that we may not do on video, but at least we're starting to build a group of people now we can have these conversations and share this information, and help each other in our projects.
No,
There may be people that need to tap into your experience with construction and the your electrical background. Uh, and based on what he's doing, there may be people that wants to tap into, his knowledge base, So I think that's pretty much what it's all about. Celia's doing something, and I have to reshoot the conversation that we had, but she's doing something in real estate, but it's a different niche. Like you're doing long-term rentals for your niche, right?
yeah, yeah.
So she's doing something that is like for similar to like the traveling nurse type of niche. You familiar with that?
Right. She mentioned something. Yeah, she did
Yeah,
mention
so
something about that. Yeah.
but I think hers is for like emergency service workers, because that's her background. But
Mm-hmm.
somebody else that may be interested in that type of real estate, they may say, hey, this is an avenue that I'd like to get into in real estate, and tap into her for consulting and help and support, which could be a
Sure,
revenue stream for her eventually. Like here in
sure.
North Carolina, I do trailers. I'm doing real estate, but I'm doing mobile homes. So
Right.
maybe somebody that's interested in that. North Carolina is, I think, the third largest state for like mobile home parks. So somebody may not be aware of that and say, hey, can you give me some insight into what you're doing? So I think that's part of the process, because the more people that you can help with their income or revenue outside of the continent, now they're prepared to go there and have that passive income or business income, because you hear so many other stories of people struggling because they just went with $5,000 or something like that, and you know, they're struggling.
Yeah. To me, if you're going to do this, you can't go as an individual. And even if you got multi millions of dollars, you still can't go as an individual. You have to have some kind of connections to
Yeah,
make for in order for this to work.
yeah, that money goes quick.
Yeah. So it has to be that way. Like people are going to move. Like say people that are doing business, they're going to move. They move. They're going from Ghana. They're going for somewhere in America. Or they're coming over in Canada, stuff like that. When people are traveling for business, that's part of that a bigger organization, like, or a bigger part of the network, and they need places to stay, right? So like
Right.
these are things that you can look down the road and say, you know what, maybe you can build facilities where there's a connection there. When these people are coming in, they get discounts and stuff like that based off of whatever, but as you talk, as you meet, ideas are going to come,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
that's how you're going to grow, because you got extensions of an arm, like you got a root, and then there starts extension. You start creating extensions, right? And the extensions become relationships, and they become symbiotic to each other, right? It's like we're all helping each other, we're all benefit from each other, so it's what you're doing. What you're doing, I think, is very important, right? Because I think it's something at the beginning of something that, as long as the network, and once we're networking, and we have to have the same common goal,
Right.
and where we want to get to, right? And once we work off of that, then we can build. We
Exactly.
build off of that,
Exactly. So that pretty much brings me to the end of this conversation, and I guess we'll follow up with a part two eventually. But I always want to capture some of the stuff that we talk about on the phone, on video, to be able to
Yeah.
share it. So I appreciate you for jumping on the Zoom call with me. And any final thoughts before I close out for today?
No, just once it's every time an interview is done, like you're doing, you're recording it, and it's just good to get it sent out and let that so everybody else can get everybody else to see it, and then tap off it, right?
For sure. And what I'll do is I'll follow with you on kind of like my conversations with Bomani, because I know one of the things we're trying to focus on is helping to build that road, so we can
Right,
attract more in investors and people to come in. And what we kind of discussed to be able to do an artist rendering, to be able to attract people as well. I know he said he already has some more footage, like drone footage and things like that, that he hasn't had a chance to update on the website. So I want to help
hmm
with that as well. Once the drone footage is up, and then we can collaborate on getting an architect to give us an artist rendering so people can get an idea of what they can build on their plot. Because we kind of discussed that, but that's down the road. The first part of it is to make sure we can kind of rally as many people to help get the road built, so we can
right, right.
take the project forward. But
Yeah. Okay.
let me let you go, Steve, and
Okay.
we'll pick it up. I guess as soon as we can, I'll reach out to you, and you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All right. Take it easy, there.
All right, Steve.
Talk to you.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.